My name is Mike Manley. I have a big place in my heart for Springfield. I have a daughter and 4 grandchildren that live just right outside Springfield here, so I'm here often. In my background, and this is not about me, but in my background, I worked with associations here in Springfield. I come from East Peoria, which is just about an hour. So I'm very excited to be here because I met a gentleman about a year ago. And this whole process, for me, started at that time. And again, this is not about me, so I want to welcome you to Capital City Baseball. You're going to hear some things today. I have a saying that people don't know what they don't know. And you don't know what is coming to Springfield. But it's going to be really exciting, really good. You're going to see something very different and very exciting and very good. So I was told on my way here that I was going to introduce someone and start this whole thing off. And then so I thought about it, and I get here, they hand me this and say, this is what you're supposed to say. And this is kind of boring. Actually, no. I had other things in mind. The last speaker is standing here. His name is Jarrett. I don't know, anybody might recognize that name. But he's a professional, or was a professional wrestler. And I met Jeff just now in the parking lot pulling in to the hotel. And, we had kind of an altercation. I said, Jeff, I'm 71. I'll be 72 in February. I'm really healthy. They call me Mr. Unstoppable. You want to go a couple rounds? He didn't say a word. He just grabbed me and threw me out there. And I come in, I'm bleeding like crazy. Proof, right?
If you say so.
I owe you one. So this is the kind of team that's going to represent Springfield with Capital City Baseball. There's nothing more Americana than baseball. Small town nights are built for connecting players with fans and ball clubs with communities. Yes, sir. There's a gentleman that's going to come up that I'm going to introduce that is just absolutely all about what that just said. He is all about community. And we're going to take how Robin Roberts Stadium is currently used, and he's going to change some things up a bit, okay? My background, I suppose they want me to say something about myself. I don't really think that's necessary. I met Jamie Toole about a year ago in a crazy kind of way, especially for a guy my age, which, social media is like, I met Jamie on social media. He sent me a connection request on LinkedIn. And I said, well, looks like a good enough guy. So I said, sure, I'll connect. And as soon as I connected, he shot me a message and said, I'm going to be starting a business. You look like you've got a lot of experience behind you, just because of my age, I guess. And I'd like to have a phone call. Am I right on that, Jamie? Oh, is that about? I said, no, I don't want to talk to you. No, I said, sure, why not? So we get on the phone. I got to tell you, it wasn't probably 5 minutes until I decided this guy is somebody different. There's something different about this guy. And from that day forward, we just really hit it off. He believes the same way that I believe. I have a couple quotes that I kind of live by. One of them is, do not seek to be well known, but to seek to be worthy. I think he follows that like a golden rule. That's why he named his company that, by the way. I probably gave him that idea. The other is, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. That's Jamie Toole. He really cares. You will see that in your community. I mentioned that I've done a lot of things. I'm actually a musician. I've been a musician since I was 8 years old. I love music. I love the instruments. I won't tell you what I play, but I'm a fan of every show, from American Idol to America's Got Talent to Voice to Dancing with the Stars. I love all those shows. I'm very different from most. And yes, I'm athletic. I'm an athlete, but I love those things too. And here's what I think is going to happen in Springfield. Springfield has talent. And his name is Jamie Toole. This guy is a celebrity. He's going to be a celebrity in your community, and it's all about you. He's going to turn this into something that you, as residents of Springfield, are extremely proud of, and get baseball back to what it used to be in Springfield. We all know the heritage of baseball in Springfield. I've probably overstepped my speech at this point, but no, never mind. It's pretty hard for guys my age to follow rules because we really don't have to. So, without further ado, I want to read a little bit here about Jamie. 20-year veteran of minor league baseball, constant steward of innovation. He's most recently general manager of the Jupiter Hammerheads. That's in Joliet. Jupiter, Florida? No, I'm kidding again. Between being surrounded by some of the highest minds in sports to connecting with local community partners, Jamie is ready for the new era of Springfield baseball. Along with our partners, he has a vision, and he really does, that will redefine baseball entertainment in the Springfield area. Please let me throw out the first pitch and welcome Jamie Toole.
All right. I'm putting the clicker down. How are you guys today? Good? Man, I'm fired up, ready to go. Fired up, ready to go. I'll tell you what a great day. Appreciate you guys coming. This room is awesome. I wish people were shooting this way, could see that way. So this is one of the greatest cities I've ever been in, man. And look how chubby I'm going to be from those cozy dogs and those horseshoes. My wife here is really like, hey, you're going to have to go to the gym twice a day if you want to keep eating at Darcy's. So twice a day it is. So the first thing I want to do is thank my wife, Melissa Gaynor. You inspire me every single day, and I love you 100%. The second thing I wanted to say is thank you, Todd Miller. Todd Miller, who has owned this team for, I think, 5 or 6 years, kept this team here through some of the most challenging times you can imagine over the last 18 months. So thank you, Todd. If you're watching, you and your family, he got the better end of the weather deal. He's in Florida, so we're going to have to do some room sharing, like that movie The Holiday, where we switch. But today is a culmination of about a year and a half of things. So I worked for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Miami Marlins in Jupiter, Florida, and I loved every bit of it. I loved it. It was amazing. Met Melissa in Palm Beach County and thought I would maybe not leave there. Or aspiring retiree is what I always said. Hey, I'm close here, so we just stay in Florida. And then COVID. It was March 11th of 2020. In fact, the Cardinals were playing the Marlins, and Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred was there. In fact, he addressed the baseball community live from Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium to announce the shutdown. So we all went home. You guys remember those days? And we went home, and we were like, man, what the heck are we going to do? And the thing that we had on our hands that we hadn't had is time. You've been running around, and you're hustling, bustling, and you're chasing all these things, and I thought to myself, hey, self, as I like to say at home, maybe there's something else, So I started listening to a podcast by a guy by the name of Jesse Cole. Anybody ever heard Jesse Cole? So he has a team called the Savannah Bananas. And what they've done is just magical. So I want to give them some credit, but there's also a bunch of other teams, Macon Bacon, Madison Mallards, who are in the same wood bat level baseball, that they make it about the fan and the fan experience. And that's our goal here in Springfield. So our group, Golden Rule Entertainment, has gone out and added 9 partners to our ownership group. I'm going to introduce one coming up here soon. There's several watching on Facebook Live. Hello, guys. I want to thank Chris Harris, Chris Rasmussen, Christy Northway, Jason Theodorakis. You guys can read about them in these notes. They'll all be here for opening day. But this is a team effort. This is a group of folks, including Mike Manley and Tim Hoker and Jeff, that have a vision to sort of make this team about this community, make it feel and look like Springfield. And, people ask me all the time, are you changing the name Sliders? We're not changing anything. We're asking you, what does it look like? Does it make sense? What should it be named? I hear some great stories of the Redbirds. If you guys want to stop by the stadium, by the way, I have some great 1979 team sets that are with the photos. It's amazing. The history is awesome. So, exciting baseball. I've been fortunate to meet with UIS and Coach Riggle. These guys are getting talented kids right here in this town, man. Some of the best baseball players are coming here. We want those kids to be in our program. We want to learn from these coaches, and we want it to be the community's team on the field. Off the field, we want these kids to be engaged and volunteering and touching. United Way, Amy Beadle's been such a great resource to our group. It's more about developing the whole player than it is the on-the-field player for us. We want them to learn how it is to be professional, to get to the gym, to work out every day, to work on their craft. But also we want them to learn what it means to be a professional off the field, volunteering, putting your time out there. So that's a big part of our plan here. I'm a foodie, so concessions items, we got to do something. I think, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but the walking horseshoe has been discussed. I think that was maybe an Amy Beadle idea. We were at Cozy Dog the other day, and I was asking Josh, boy, we got to get the recipe. We got to sell these Cozy Dogs here at the stadium. We want to make it feel like Springfield there on the concession side. The Park District's been great. I think Sean's here, Marty. You guys are just great people. And, we're honored to be here and be the stewards of this team for whatever period of time that is. And that's exactly what owning a baseball team is. It's about a service. It's about how can we help our community be better. It's not about us. It's about the product that we can offer, the fan experience. We all know we live in a world where we don't always agree on everything. Just scroll down your social media pages. It'll tell you how bad things out there. We want people to gather and come together and enjoy baseball, family entertainment, fun, and kind of forget about all that stuff. I think we all need to come back together and be a part of something. And baseball's that, man. Baseball is such a great asset for a community to have. So I'll get to talking forever, but I'm just so excited because I believe in Springfield, and I know these owners believe in Springfield, and we're looking forward to putting on a show that I think you're going to be happy with. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Tim Hoker, who is a Grays Lake native, and he's one of the members of our ownership group. Tim?
Interesting. In your professional life, you try to always mitigate certain things in your careers, right? And never in my life have I been before or after Jamie, right, who can sell ice to Eskimos, and in front of a WWE Hall of Famer. So apologize, but you guys got me for a few minutes, so hopefully we can get through it together. And by the way, this isn't my day job, right? So understand that as well as in terms of speaking in front of large groups, but I appreciate it. Real quick, I was talking with my wife, and she's like, how many times have you been to Springfield? And I'm like, man, I don't know. It's been a ton, right? And we started adding it up. And I think we're somewhere between like 100 and 125 different times that we've been to Springfield, right? And I'm like, oh, it makes sense, right? It makes sense because both of us are Quincy University graduates, which is basically just an hour and some down the way, right? Depending on how fast you drive. And we graduated from Quincy, and I went on my professional career, and she stayed for a couple more years, and then she went to Lindenwood in St. Louis for a master's degree in education, right? And I'm like, yeah, it totally makes sense because we had this long-distance relationship, right? Longer than she wanted, of course, but we use Springfield as that springboard, and it's very, for us, it's very symbolic, right? That this is where our relationship took off, right? And then we're back here again doing another initiative that we're excited about, truly excited about, right? Then I said, like, so what we're talking about, like, what do we like about Springfield, right? And it was two major themes, right? The biggest one, of course, right? Just the historical presence of this capital, right? Being from Illinois, having lived my whole life in Illinois, Springfield means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And the history part of it is one of those things, right? The other side of it, and Jamie stole my thunder on that one, though, but is the food, right? Like we live in a little community, right? And we love going to the little small mom and pop shops. And there's nothing better here in Springfield than some of the carry-out foods, right? The little mom and pops or some of the family sit-down businesses, right? So that we enjoyed that thoroughly, right? But just as Springfield had ingredients to be a great city, right? So does this baseball team, right? We're investors in this thing, and it wasn't that I told the Park District a couple weeks ago. We didn't just pull this out of a hat, right? We thought about it, and we did a lot of research, and we did a lot of research, and we did a lot of research, right? And this place has the ingredients, right? And so I wrote down 4 ingredients that I thought at the top level, right? This is what's going to help us be successful. The first one is that ballpark. I think it was the second question I asked Jamie. I said, so tell me about the ballpark. And mind you, I've been here 120 times, right? And I didn't even know where the ballpark was, right? So once I got the address, I looked it up on Google, and Jamie's response was quick, right? He's like, man, it's historic, and it's got good bones. And I'm like, sign me up, man. That's cool. Because you know what? You can't remake that. Like, you can build some beautiful palace. You can build some great baseball field with all the sightlines, but you cannot remake the history that's at that park, right? And we do a lot of research on this, right? And we've talked to a lot of people. We've been here for a while, even though this is our first day out in the public. We've been talking to a lot of people, a lot of social media content, and really, truly, honestly, right? We see it that their grandparents took them to the games, or their moms took them to the games, right? And that's what we want, right? We want to bring that back to Springfield. We want those people to come back. Some lady said she had her family's name still on the seat, right? I'm like, I can't wait to reach out to her after today and say, hey, come on back. Let's do this thing, right? So there's that baseball part of it, right? But there's also other components as well, right? There's a baseball history here. I was talking with Marty earlier, right? There's a knowledge about baseball, this game, that I haven't seen in really anywhere that I've been. And I've been to pretty much every major city in America and minor city, right? And I think part of it's because you're close to St. Louis and you've got Cardinal St. Louis fans, but it's also the last 50 years, all right, of the baseball teams that have come through here. You guys have had some really high talented teams and have left an enduring legacy, and that's a tribute to the city. The third piece of this, man, is the community. We were here a couple weeks ago. Jamie, myself, and Melissa, we got the opportunity to present, or just an introduction meeting with the Park District. And I've been in a lot of government meetings in my life, but nothing quite like this. This was engaging. There was a gentleman that spoke before us that I didn't know, and he just talked about, for 20 minutes, how the Park District has transitioned from what it was, that people really didn't want, to what it is now, right? And serving the community with recreations and parks, right, and outdoor entertainment. And Jamie and I and Melissa, we went to dinner, and Andrew went to dinner that night, and we're like, this is fantastic. This is what we want. This is what we want, right? And then see them engage with the community, the people that were there that were talking, and the trustees, man. We're like, we can't wait to get back in front of them and work through this deal. It's going to be spectacular. And then I think the final one is our partnership, right? Jamie's assembled a group of people that are diverse. We are not cookie cutter by any means, right? And that's stuff that we're going to rely on. We got a lot of good ideas. We got a lot of input from the community, and we couple that with ideas from our professional backgrounds. I think this thing's going to be a home run for us, literally and figuratively, right? Okay? But I think defining success for us, and we'll be honest with you, right? This goes out to our sponsors and the people in the world. We want to lead in attendance, right? We went to Jamie and I went to the league meeting, right? We're not number one, right? Now, the previous ownership did a great job keeping us in the top 5, and that's commendable. We appreciate that. But our goal is to be leading the league in attendance. I think that's admirable. I think if we do it right, no worries. I think if we do it right, it's going to happen, and we're going to fly that pennant flag that says, "Thank you, fans, for a great season." The second piece of it is, the partnership. So I think at the end of the day, the ingredients are here for the Springfield to be a productive baseball team and a productive member of the community. And again, back to the success, right? Back to the attendance. We're also going to have an opportunity for merchandise sales, right? As Jamie mentioned, the team's going to be what the community picks. Okay, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Sliders, maybe it's somebody else. We don't know, but the community is going to pick that, right? So there's a huge opportunity just for merchandise to pick a logo that looks back in the future, looks back in the past, but has an eye towards the future, right? And it's going to be something that represents our community and something that we're going to be proud of, because I'll tell you, when you put that hat on, right? You put that hat on, whatever it looks like, right? I know it's going to be slick, right? Because we got some smart people designing it, right? We want you to be proud that you're from Springfield and that's your baseball team, right? And when you put that hat on and other people see that and say, hey, where'd you get that hat, right? Those are good things. Those are definitely good things. So the last piece, I think, right, to measure our success, and I think this is important, it's not necessarily the last, but it's last on my list, is our partnership with our sponsors. 20 years I spent in sales, various levels of success, but one thing I learned is that you earn your business. You never win business, right? You earn people's business. And I can guarantee you that that's how we're going to go at this. We want partners that want to be in this 100% with us, right? Sponsorships that's just not handing out money, that it's working with us on better ideas, better ways to do things. And I think if we can do that and work together, it's going to be spectacular. So the partners that are on board, we appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you in the future. For the guys that we're reaching out to, we look forward to having those discussions and developing something that's mutually beneficial for everybody. So again, I appreciate your time and look forward to opening day. I wish opening day was tomorrow, by the way. But Jamie will say we got a ton of things to do between now and opening day. But I'm going to be there, and I can't wait, and it's going to be something fabulous. So thanks again.
Nice job. I wanted to just commend Beth from McDaniels Marketing for reminding me that we have this handy-dandy slideshow over here. Oh, Jamie's over here hopped up, just rolling around, and is not even paying attention to the details. So, by the way, Randy and Beth with McDaniels Marketing, just awesome. You guys are awesome. I love everything about what you guys are doing. I believe it's remarkably uncommon. Is that right? See, I pay attention to some things. So, Capital City Baseball. So, this, in fact, is not the name of the team. Just so you know that. It's not Capital City Baseball. This is the name of our company. So our company here is Capital City Baseball, LLC. We're signed up to do business in the great state of Illinois. Fired up about it. So the next slide is a little bit about what you're going to see at the stadium. I don't know if we're going to play in kilts or not, but we'll see. Brian Harrison here has some good ideas. What was it, some overalls or something like that? I don't know. We'll get back to that. Mascot. So Speedy has been real active in the community. Speedy is out and active. Maybe there's 1, 2, 3 mascots. Who knows what the future holds on that front. Certainly more engagement on field. And I tell people all the time, baseball can be very boring. You know, it sounds weird to come from a baseball person, but I take my kids and they're like, we want you to go to the restroom during the game so you don't miss the in-between inning stuff, right? So it's fun and engaging. The food is important. We want to partner with some local caterers. We want to try to enhance what our offerings are. I call it the total fan experience. From the time that you click on the website to buy tickets, which we're going to have a brand new ticketing system, digital tickets, you can text them to your buddies, you can email them over, you can use it for your business. Just a little bit more technology. I've coined the phrase tech nostalgia. You guys know what that is? It's like technology, but the nostalgia of the stadium. So trying to bring those two together. Just super excited about the entertainment. I promise you we got 3 or 4 things that is going to be awesome. And I wish I could tell you that, but I'd get in trouble with these guys. So our mission is, we talked about, be community partners. The vision of Golden Rule would be to potentially own more teams in the future. This is the benchmark. Springfield is the place where we start, where we get this thing going. And super excited about Robin Roberts Stadium. Our guys, Tim Hoker, who you just heard from, Chris Rasmussen, Chris Harris, these guys will all be here between now and opening day, and certainly on opening day. It's a big ownership group. The reason is we wanted to provide the different backgrounds and the resources to do it right. We knew it couldn't be a one-man band and have the success that we wanted. We didn't want to just own a team. We wanted to own the team, and we wanted to be right here in Springfield. Glenn Gudick in Orlando, he's watching. He's recruiting some players down there in sunny Florida. So Glenn, great partner. He came up and toured. I think we sold him on the Obed and Isaac's horseshoe. I think he was, after that, he's like, I got to come back here. And then a guy by the name of Jeff Jarrett over here, who I'm going to talk about just in a second. Super fired up about Jeff and what he brings to the table. Jason Theodorakis is a high school principal. He's going to keep us all on our P's and Q's. Mike Manley, Mr. Unstoppable, and Christy Northway. Super excited about Christy. She's the co-founder of Pro Sway Batting Gloves. Very excited to have her a part of the group. The team, myself, Melissa Gaynor also is my wife, and she's right here, and she'll be involved in the community. She's going to get involved in every nonprofit, every organization. If you have a way we can get involved, please contact her. Brian Harrison, who we've got a holdover from the last ownership group, and we're excited to have him, United States veteran, right? So how about that? Little hands for Brian Harrison. So very excited, learning a lot from him on a daily basis. Andrew Miller's in the back working hard. He's the emperor of engagement. So this kid, God bless him for leaving a job with 2 Major League Baseball teams and leaving South Florida to come here. You'll hear from him and see him on social. He's got a brand new drone he's playing with, so you can expect some pretty cool content coming out that way. Jeff, Christy, Peppy, Gary, Anthony, and Mike all on the advisor board team. Again, it's not a one-person show. It had to be a whole team of folks to help us get this thing going. We believe this is the place. We believe in the community. We've had great relationship in the transition with Todd, and Todd had so many good things in place. Our host family, I know Carrie's here, and she organizes that. I just can't tell you how important that is. Every other place in the country struggles with host families. I think we have 16 or 18, if I'm not. And that's Carrie working hard. And families taking these kids into their home. I mean, there's nothing more personal than that. That's a big, big deal. And just tells you what kind of people are here in Springfield. We couldn't find anybody in Florida to host a player. I mean, it would be like, sorry, send them to the Holiday Inn. And so the history, I hear a lot of people talk about Redbirds and then the Cardinals. Not so much about Sultans, but then some Capitals and Sliders. This is just great history. We want to know this. If you got any old schedules or merchandise, bring. If you want to share it, bring by the stadium. We're trying to create a museum of the history of baseball here. It's just phenomenal. Can you imagine, walking up on Satchel Paige, sitting in the stands, watching a game? I mean, as a baseball fan, wow, it just is awesome. The Prospect League. So we are in the process of applying for the ownership transfer. We attended the league meetings. I'm very excited. We actually added 2 teams from the old Midwest League, Lumber Kings and Bees, and also want to welcome Dallas from Alton here. He's here. It'll be the only time we're friendly. We're coming after you guys hard and heavy. So the league is at 16. I believe there's a scenario where they may expand for 2023. That is very exciting for us. The ballpark, it's historical, right? I think some people see different things when they look at the ballpark. I see the history. You cannot go and buy the history that's at that stadium, the stories. We had lunch with Justin and the guys at Make a Springfield, and they were talking about playing for the high school. Was it the high school state championship where there was 5,000 people and they had to delay the game? And when I see people tell those stories, that's what's so enjoyable, because we forget about that. We're running around living life, but remember those times where we came together, and that place right there is where we're going to come together again in 2022. Some new events. So we're coming from Cardinals country. So any Cardinals fans here today? Few? Any Cubs fans? Any Cubs? Oh, is this a 50-50 room? Nice, 50-50. There you go. So White Sox. All right. Any Yankees? I'm just kidding. No Yankees. So a Legends of Baseball event. This is an event we want to bring in new tradition annual basis. Former Cubs versus former Cardinals, a Legends game. Very excited about that event. Maybe some of you, we're going to try to bring Justin out of retirement to play, and a couple of you guys, Coach Riggle and the folks over at UIS, to get back on the field. Congressional game, those guys don't agree on much, so maybe we can get them on the field to duke it out there like they do up in D.C. Then Battle of the Badges. Certainly appreciate our fire and police officers, and just some organized community events that on those beautiful June and July nights when our team's on the road, we have programming at the stadium, working with the Park District to try to do more than just the 30 games for the Prospect League. Our timeline, we're all the way up to January 22. Here today and working with the Park District and working with the league on the transfer, and then hopefully we'll have a schedule here in the next 2 or 3 weeks for the 2022 season. So I believe I've done. Is that where I'm supposed to stop at? Thank you so much. So the next guy you probably came to see a little bit, but this guy I met I think in 2018 at the Baseball Winter Meetings. I tracked it back. It was Las Vegas, and we met outside of a room, and I walked up and I said, "Hey man, you're Jeff Jarrett." And he said, "Yeah. Yes, I am." And I thought it'd be typical, you meet a guy that's been on TV and has some success, and he just sort of blows you off. The most engaging human being. We talked for probably 15 or 20 minutes out front, and Jeff's involved in so many things. Jeff is a WWE Hall of Famer, but more importantly, he's a Hall of Fame human being. This guy is a promoter, and he fires me up every time I talk to him. I mean, and I don't know if he ever sleeps, because I'll wake up and like 4 a.m., he's already tweeted his quote for the day, and I feel like I'm a slacker. I'm getting started at 5:30. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I stay with Jeff. Jeff was a guy that I wanted to run this concept by. I said, Jeff, this is on my heart. I really want to do this. We have a team with Tim and Mike and these other owners. And he just took off. He was excited. I'm going to let him tell you the story. But we're so fired up to have Jeff Jarrett and what he brings to us as far as access and contacts and just a superhuman being. So, Jeff Jarrett, come on up here and let's talk about it.
Thank you, Jamie. And every note that you told me to hit, you've hit or you've hit. So throw that out the window. No. Oh, no. Coming from my background in the event business, it's all about sellouts. So I think today is the first official sellout of Capital City Baseball. I appreciate everybody being here. It's great to see a full room and the excitement and the engagement and all that. And so I won't take up too much of your time. If you listen to my podcast, you know I can get long-winded, but I won't get long-winded today. I'd rather get to y'all's questions and really get into the engagement. But like I just said, the guys have sort of hit my points. But I think probably where I need to start is, what in the world is a professional wrestler doing in minor league baseball? And so just to give you a quick background, I come from I'm a third generation promoter. In 1946, my grandmother, Christine Jarrett, got into the professional wrestling business. She did everything. She didn't wrestle. She did everything but wrestle. And she was a promoter. Literally, her first job was selling tickets, and then worked her way all the way up. And my father, as a young kid, he hung around dressing rooms and box offices and events and promotions. And he became a wrestler, but first he promoted. He promoted wrestling events in Middle America, just like we're here today. And then I've been blessed enough. I can't tell you how excited I am to have this opportunity, because it brings me back to my roots. Long before the WrestleManias of the world and the big events at Texas Stadium or in Orlando or LA or Las Vegas, professional wrestling is really about coming into a community and promoting, partnering with nonprofits, partnering with Civitan clubs, partnering, just like Jamie said, with the community. And that's the thing. When Jamie ran this by me, and it's funny that Tim said he did research and did more research and did more research and did more research. Folks, I did zero research. But here's what I did do. The first time, and it's almost like we got a little vibe affair. Easy, Melissa. No, but when I met Jamie in Vegas, that's the thing. We hit it off because I think there's an innate promoter in him and myself and a vibe. And I think servant leadership is the thing that comes to my mind, that we know that at the end of the day, the community is the straw that stirs the drink. It's really just that simple. So, again, I'm not going to get up here and talk too much longer, but I'm excited. I can't wait to get into the feedback from the naming of the team, to the concessions, to, getting on the opening day in May. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got to roll up our sleeves. I think the timeline that we've got, that I'm not sure is on the board, but by February, we hope we have our essentially the brand identified. But I'm really excited. We have 30 home games, and I'm very excited about those home games. I have nothing to do, you baseball folks in the house, I have nothing to do with pitching and catching at all. But between innings, before the game starts, after the game starts, it's all up my alley. I literally cannot wait. And equally as important is, 30 days, there's 330 days left in the year. So that's another thing. I can remember right now, where I was sitting when he approached me with this, and I Googled the stadium. And I texted him and I said, hey, I think you said that stadium's like 3,500. And he said, no. I'm like, 5,000. I'm like, that's perfect. So for me as a promoter, you want something that is you can sell as many tickets, candidly, as possible, but have that intimate feel, and that's what Robin Roberts is. So I am super excited. I feel very blessed to be a part, because I feel I'm a part of this community now with the ownership and the team and everybody jumping on board. Again, I thank you all for coming out today. And Jamie, you want to take some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you all.
Any questions? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Timothy Gibbs, and I got one big question for your entire group, your investors, everybody, even you, Jeff. You talk about community and keeping everything together in Springfield and going out in the community, nonprofits and everything else. I'm an owner and operator of a professional wrestling group here in Springfield. We've worked very closely with Todd Miller and the Sliders for the past 8 years. When this announcement came about the new program, the new ownership, and everything else, my first thought is, I got to be here and I have to ask that question. 2022 is going to be a big year for Springfield and the baseball community and everybody else. My question for you guys is, what does the future hold for Pinfall Wrestling Association and a relationship at Robin Roberts Stadium?
Can I take that one?
Yes.
I got to be honest with you. I saw that Portillo's. I thought you were with Portillo's and you're about to offer some lunch. But I think we can work out a deal with that. What I would tell you is I think that that's awesome. You know, the relationships that Todd had and the plans they had. We're open for business on anything. You know, you bring us an idea. We were telling Marty and Sean, the guys at the Park District, you know, we have this whole list of ideas at the building. We didn't come here with this preconceived plan of this is how it's going to have to be. You just can't do that. You know, a lot of teams, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but they go out and they already have this name or this brand, and then they do this name this team competition, right? And then they already know this is going to be the XYZs, right? We don't have that. Now, we've kicked around ideas. Some people love the Sliders and the name Sliders. Tell us why. You know, fight for it. If that's the name you want, tell us why. So today, Capital of Fun is going to be up, and you'll be able to tell us all your ideas. As it relates to Pinfall Wrestling, the devil's in the details, my man. So let's sit down and talk about it and see what we can do. This guy's got a few wrestling connections here or there, too. So maybe. But we certainly appreciate you being here and love what you guys are doing.
Thank you, man.
Sounds great. It all sounds great in December. Even Cubs fans know that. You know, first place. But, you know, those of us who've been to Sliders games, including myself, there have been a lot of people at them. Fewer people that are in this room. How's that going to change?
Well, we hope to have a lot of people at them. What I would tell you is the last couple of years have been challenging. I came to a game this past summer on a Wednesday. Mike, we met at the game, and I think there were 800 or 900 people there. So I think the challenge that you have is creating a value proposition that's worthy of people driving out to the games. Most of us live on our phones. I get in trouble. It's called screen time at home. We have that. Jamie, no more screen time. So we got to get away from this and get back to this human interaction, and I think we provide a platform for that. Plus, I think we're going to give you some promotions you're going to want to be a part of. You know, we want to appeal to folks that don't even like baseball. If you don't like baseball, maybe you like fireworks, maybe you like a giveaway night, maybe you like, you know, Mountain Dew Man, who can drink the most Mountain Dew in 9 innings, which I think
The fireworks they did, the spinning on the bat race, and the wearing a fat suit, sumo wrestling. I mean, it's all been done. I mean,
well,
how are you going to get more folks?
Well, what I would tell you is you get more folks by having meaningful relationships, right? By knowing what's important to people. We went to a company, is the guys from Ace Signs here today? Did they make it? We went to their company yesterday and toured them. And I walked out of that company, I told Melissa, I said, that's the kind of feeling I want people to have when they leave our stadium. It was awesome. History, tradition. You know, you certainly don't get more fans by just talking about what didn't happen in the past. I believe we already sold some season tickets today, right, Miller, Andrew? So bringing back season tickets, bringing back the idea of having my grandparents had this seat right here, bringing back that importance. Tying into these relationships. We've got a lot of contacts with the Cardinals, a few with the Cubs. We don't want to talk about that as much. A few with Jeff. I promise you we're going to give you our best shot. And I promise you we're going to draw well, really well, because we're going to give folks in this community a value that they're going to say, hey, you got to go see this. Wait till they see the beer bat. Have you seen these guys? Unbelievable. So we're just so excited about what's coming. I think you're going to have to get back to us when we announce the promotional schedule coming out in the spring. But I think 2022 will be a telling year about the appetite. great sports fans here, very knowledgeable, good baseball, local players. That's the recipe. That's the recipe all over the country.
I'm Ryan with the State Journal Register in town. How important is winning to getting the fans to town?
I think winning is important to everybody, right? We want to go and win. I think a lot of folks that attend games maybe don't even know the score of the game when they leave. Was the beer cold? Was the hot dogs warm? For me, I just want to win. I like if we're going to play. Trust me, we're competitive. When I'm at home, I play cards. I want to win. I think Derek Jeter said it best. If I'm playing anything, I want to win. I want to win, but I want to win with kids from this area. This is one of the most talented hotbeds of players from all these kids that are Lincoln Land, to UIS. We want to win with our kids. That's how we want to win. And we want to be an entertaining group. We want to have a manager that teaches these kids how to be professional. We want draftable players. We got to do a better job of recruiting. We got to recruit draftable, talented kids that have a chance to play at the next level. And that's how you win.
The Sliders have done a good job throughout the years of having local products on the field. There's limitations of how many kids you have from a college. It's not always worked. 2 years ago, 2019, Springfield lost 26 straight games in a row. I'm sure fans were not coming to the games during those times, regardless. Who wants to sit through a 9-inning game when it's 100 degrees outside and your team is losing 13-2 at the end of the 2 innings?
Yeah.
Danville, Quincy, they've done a pretty good job from CICL days to Prospect League days of having pipelines to some of the best teams like your LSU's and stuff, and getting some of those freshmen who aren't getting to the Northwoods League or the Cape Cod League, but they have a pipeline here. Is that an option? Or?
Yes. Yeah, I think those are relationships, right? When you take a player on, you have a responsibility to do the programming that those colleges want for this young man, right? My nephew is a sophomore at Clemson University, and I believe he's close to entering the transfer portal. That's a big thing in the parity of D1 baseball. I think also a lot of people get enamored with a kid that's going to LSU. There's a lot of talented kids that are here at Lincoln Land College, and I want to put those kids and their pride up against those kids that Danville are getting.
Right, but you can only get 4 kids.
Well, that's okay. But what I mean is if you're playing for a community that is important on the chest, I don't know that the kid from LSU playing for Danville is important to him other than progressing his career. Do we want to get those guys? Yeah, we had a couple of guys from the University of Iowa, I believe. Some Millers will get back to me. Memphis. So we have some of those pipelines. Do we need more? For sure. One of the reasons, or one of the ways you do that is you talk to Major League Scouts. Who are the kids out of high school in this region that we need to be working with? What are the relationship with the coaches? Lincoln Land, UIS. The relationship with the baseball community here, former players, those relationships are important to us. That's how we get an umbrella of contacts. Justin has been so awesome helping us connect with the baseball community. I don't understand the logistics of the previous ownership group, but it occurs to me that we need to be more engaged and have more people under our umbrella to help us recruit those players.
Do you guys think it's something similar to, I don't know how many people saw it on ESPN a couple of months ago, the Savannah Bananas and something that's gimmicky, for lack of a better term, as that, or something?
Well, what you say gimmicky, I would say it's entertaining, yes.
Yeah. That was their whole thing, is being entertaining for the people who don't really care about baseball and being entertaining for the innings.
Yes.
So that's something that you guys think is similar?
Well, there's just one caveat to that. They had 10 kids that played on their team this year that got drafted. So I think young men want to go play in that atmosphere where we're going to be fun, we're going to be engaging. Yeah, they're going to come off the field and they're going to go give flowers to the ladies in the stands. Of course they are. We're going to do engaging, gimmicky things, but to me that's entertainment. That's what people want, because for everybody that comes to the game to win, which we all want the home team to win, right? I think it says root for the home team. But there's also a group for United Way or a fundraiser that they're there for community engagement. They're there to have the cold beer, to have the hot dog, to enjoy a night at the ballpark. So I'd say it's a combination of those two.
Hi, one of your slides mentioned renovations in the stadium. Do you guys have any plans for what you plan to do? And the biggest question is,
Yeah, so we're in the infant discussions with the Park District on a lease agreement. What we would like to see is just a more modern look. We plan on trying to look at all avenues of funding to get that done. We need more group areas. Our first base party deck is very popular. We need a group area on the third base side. We need more areas to bring in groups where you can get 250 people together. Group sales is what we would call it in other markets. So, and then we want to tell the story of baseball in Springfield. I compare it to becoming a baseball museum. So when you walk around that place, you feel like, oh my God, I remember when that guy played here. I remember when that happened, or whatever the case may be. So we certainly have a grandiose vision. We'll see. It's certainly not a one-year plan to get where we need to get to, but I want future generations to understand what's happened in that building. And some days it's just, you're in awe. You walk out and you imagine. I keep coming back to the Satchel page. For me, that's one that is, it's a game changer. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I think in 2008 was when the slide. But in that time, I think you're like the fourth or fifth ownership group. Some ownership groups have said we need to flood the market with tickets to get people out there, every Thursday, game, we're going to give free tickets. Other ownership groups have said that's not a good strategy. You want people to pay for your product.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea on that?
Sure. You ever see that? You ever go to the bar and you see that free beer yesterday? That's my strategy on that. I believe that we create a value for the ticket price. I believe that giving away tickets is a way of saying that our product is not valuable. So we are going back to selling season tickets. I believe there's a right time to do a donation or a fundraiser if you're engaged in the community, if you want folks to be a part of it, if folks can't afford to be a part of it. There's strategic ways to do that. I don't believe in giving away free tickets. I believe it devalues the product. And I believe when folks show up for Open Day 22, they're going to see a value in the product that we offer. Can he answer any?
I will make a comment. Go ahead.
You said you were looking for players in this area. Are you also looking for a coach who's maybe notable from this area?
Yeah, we are. The gentleman from last year just informed us that he won't be coming back for some family reasons, so we are. Yeah, we're looking for a man. We call it a manager. We navigate towards the pro style, but we're looking for a manager for 2022. Yes.
Jeff.
Nice.
You're a big player throughout your career. You've always been kind of a mainstay of Tennessee. What brought you to Springfield, Illinois, instead of, let's say, teaching within the South?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that. Question is, if you didn't hear, what lured me to Springfield, Illinois? As the questions have sort of gone around the room, the one word that keeps coming to my mind is something that I've got 2 international projects going on. I'm working with a gaming company. I've got a wife and 5 kids. That's a full-time job. But the one thing that really, look, we can be buddies from afar, and that's fine. But when Jamie sort of rolled out, not just the ownership and everything, but there's one word that comes to my mind that I challenged the gentleman back there that to really take this to heart, and the coaches in the room absolutely know where this is coming from, and it's culture from the ground up. I have absolutely nothing to do with what I said about balls and strikes, that what happens on the field. But if you want to draw an analogy to my world, we get the best of both worlds. We're going to have amateur wrestling or / amateur baseball on the field, but we're going to have professional wrestling between innings. And I'm not saying we're going to be throwing punches and taking chairs and breaking tables. But the gentleman that made the analogy to the Savannah Bananas and making bacon, if you look at the video of those games, there's one thing consistent in everything. It's a packed house. And that brings energy, it brings excitement, and if your team is down 13-0 and you've got a full arena or a full stadium, I can assure you that it is a lot more fun. But winning breeds winning, and it all starts from the top. And the culture that he has set is what lured me here. Like I said, I've had opportunities all the time, and one of my business mentors taught me a long time ago, the most important words you're ever going to learn is no. I couldn't say no to this opportunity.
You had talked about earlier, you weren't quite sure if the Sliders name was going to stay or go. What's going to be the process of that? It's going to be community nominations for names, and then it's going to be a community vote? Or?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So today, I believe the website rolls over to capitaloffun.com. So if you go to capitaloffun.com, you can give feedback. So one of the strategies that we have is to do a lot of listening over the next couple of months. Listen to meet folks and understand what's important to folks that live here. When we say your team, we mean that. And and honestly, there is no preconceived name. We've brainstormed and kicked around crazy ideas at the stadium, but I can't wait. My dream is that some young man or young girl in some classroom in this community says, what about this? And maybe it's a variation of all those brands that have come before. Maybe it is sliders. Maybe people love it and are fond of it and they need. But I tell people all the time, if you love us, that's great. If you hate us, that's great. In the middle, that's where we can't be. We got to be relevant in some way where people are engaged, or I don't like it or I do love it. Javi Baez just signed a new deal with the Detroit Tigers. A lot of Cubs fans that don't like that, but they're talking about the Cubs and they're talking about that experience. We want folks to talk about what's going on at the ballpark. Did I answer your question?
I think so.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
Oh.
Jamie, how about guys and gals with hair of my color? What are you going to do for us seniors?
Well, first of all, I'm going to recommend you not challenge Jeff to a wrestling match in the parking lot anymore. But yeah, so there's a program that we'll introduce called Silver Sluggers. That's for 55 and older. I don't think you're quite there yet, Mike. But that'll be programming that we do for each segment. Youth Kids Club, we have that with the sliders here. A reimagined Kids Club, a reimagined season ticket plan, Silver Sluggers, women's nights, just things that we engage the community. Scout and cellar wine, maybe some of that at the ballpark. So I think the programming will come as we generate the relationships that we need to generate here. You got it.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Taking back on that. What about your veterans?
Yeah, so we're going to ask our in-house veteran, Ryan. We've actually brainstormed about that. We talked about a couple of cool promotions that other stadiums have done. In Jupiter, we had complimentary tickets for veterans for every game. We also did a couple of specific programming for that. But certainly there'll be something for that. I mean, there's just not enough we could do for our veterans. So, and we're thankful to have one in the ballpark, and he takes it easy on us most days. Anything else? We've kept you here a long time, so I apologize if we kept you too much. But we're fired up to be here. We want to meet everybody and everybody that you know and everybody that they know. So thank you so very much for coming, and we're excited. Opening day will be here soon.